Hi, everyone. Welcome to the Big God Project with Pastor Nancy. It's great to see you again. I'm so glad that you joined me. I really do miss you. A lot of us have come back to church, but there isn't quite Sunday school yet, but it'll be coming. In the meantime, we'll have fun just doing the Big God Project. Now, I don't know, do any of you know what the theme might be for today? Any ideas? Probably not, eh? We'll have to unlock the theme. So today, the way that we're going to unlock the theme is we are going to play a game, and it's called Hidden Objects. Okay, so what we need to do is we need to find a Band-Aid. A Band-Aid. I wonder if one of these people hurt themselves and they're wearing a Band-Aid. I don't see one on anyone. Maybe look at this. He's got a car brush for snow. They got all kinds of weird things on them. Oh, I heard someone say they know where the Band-Aid is. How about anyone else? Right, it's on the door. Good job. Now we're looking for a spray bottle. Well, they're under the ocean, so they probably get wet a lot. Maybe that's why they're wearing these big suits so they don't get wet so much. Maybe a spray bottle is to water all these plants, like water the pineapple. I don't see a spray bottle there. The cactus? Nope. How about near the sunflower? No. I'm having a hard time seeing it. You know where it is? Oh, down at the bottom. Yeah, you found it before I did. A lemon slice. I love lemon slices in my water. I don't see a glass of water here. No glasses of water with lemon slices in it. Where else might a lemon slice be? Somebody saw it? Is a hint by the smiley face? There it is, on their chin. Now we're looking for a shell. Shells come in all kinds of different sizes, don't they? Some shells are big. It could be a snail shell. It could be an oyster shell. It could be a clam shell. That's going to be hard because there's all kinds of different shells that it might have. I don't see it. You would think there were lots of shells in here because they're under the ocean. There it is, on his belly. Oh my goodness, now we have to look for carrots. Carrots are orange. Maybe it has some green leaves on it. I don't see anything orange in here. Do you? No, nothing orange. Oh, you know what, everyone? This is a really tricky one. You know why? Because we're not actually looking for carrots. We're looking for the word carrot, C-A-R-R-O-T-S, down here at the bottom. Do you see the word carrots anywhere in this picture? There you go, right at the top. And guess what? We've unlocked our theme for today. Congratulations, everyone. You've done a great job. You're amazing. Well, let's take a God has a plan. Well, this theme follows up on some of the idea that God is in control of everything. That means God watches everything, and God has a plan, even for our lives. And God also has a plan that when we set out, well, God has a plan in the sense that when he wants to do something, he makes a plan for it. And sometimes it takes a day, and sometimes it takes 2 days, sometimes it takes a month, a year, sometimes years and years for God's plan to unfold. Well, God also has a plan for fixing all the hurt and the brokenness that sin has caused in our world. And the amazing part is that God includes you and me in his plan. And he does so by just calling on us to trust him and obey him. And we're part of the plan for God to save the whole world. That sounds like a really big plan. I don't know how you and I could save the whole world. But one of the ways is just by doing and loving other people around us. So the question is, how do you make plans to get ready for something? Let's say you were going camping. What kind of plan would you make to go camping? Well, you would have to think about what kind of food you're going to bring. Are you going to bring a tent or a trailer? Are you going to bring some of your toys? You may want to bring a swimsuit if you're going near the beach. Well, often we think about getting ready for something and we make a plan. Well, there's a story in the Bible, and it's about Joseph. And some of you, where are we? Some of you have one of our Bible storybooks, and you can find the story of Joseph in your storybook. So I suggest you read that. But for now, let's listen to part of the plan that God had for Joseph. Here we go.
Let's recap where we've been in the Big God story for the last little while. A few weeks ago, we met Joseph. Pretty happy guy with a pretty cool coat and some very jealous brothers. His brothers threw him in a well. His brothers sold him to be a slave. The slavers took him to Egypt, where he ended up in jail. Next, he was standing in front of Pharaoh, the leader of the country, talking to him about his dreams.
Well, I saw these really cool cows.
Interesting. And at the end of it all, after being thrown down a well, sold, and in jail, and talking with the king, Joseph was the number 2 in the entire country, helping their way through 7 years of drought. Things happened exactly as God said they would. For 7 years, Egypt had tons of food, and Joseph oversaw the collection of it for the years when they would not have as much. And sure enough, 7 years followed when Egypt and the lands all around it were dry, and the food ran out. But thankfully, because of Joseph's management and his leadership, Egypt had enough. In fact, they had enough to share with others. But back in Canaan, where Joseph's family was, things were not so good. The family was running out of food, and the brothers were running out of ideas. There was nothing left for them there. And then their father came and reminded them that yes, there was no food here, but there was food in Egypt. Go and get some, he said, so that our family might not starve. The brothers agreed, and they all headed off to Egypt in search of food. So the brothers went to Egypt and asked for food, so that their families might not starve. And all the while, they didn't realize that the person they were talking to was their brother. It had been so long since they'd seen him that they didn't recognize him. But Joseph knew them. Joseph revealed who he was to his brothers. Needless to say, they were a little surprised and worried. Their brother was second in charge of all of Egypt, and here they were, the guys who had thrown him down a well and sold him as a slave. But Joseph held no anger in his heart for his brothers. He was so happy to see them. It was a joyful reunion. The Pharaoh granted Joseph's family permission to come and live in Egypt, away from the drought. They brought their flocks, they brought their wives, they brought their children, and of course they brought their father. And Joseph was reunited with him again. It was another joyful reunion. God had protected. God was always in control, and God's plan was perfect. And his plan to heal what was broken and bring his people back to him was still going strong.
Wow, that was quite the story. I mean, when Joseph was really young, his brothers bullied him and they sold him. And poor Joseph ended up being a slave and he ended up being in prison, all kinds of sad things. He must have wondered what God's plan was for him. And then eventually Joseph became really important in the land of Egypt so that he took care of all the food for all the area around. And when Joseph's brothers came to Egypt to find grain to feed them during the famine, they don't even recognize Joseph as their brother. And when they finally realize that it's Joseph, they're terrified because they think that Joseph will have revenge on them for being so mean to him. But Joseph can see that all of this was part of God's plan, that God was even able to use the mean and hurtful actions of his brothers to make his good plans happen. Well, that's amazing. It's what we call redemption. When God takes something bad and he helps it become good, that's called redemption. And God's plan is to redeem the whole world so that bad things will eventually become good things. You can print off a journal for this week and you can color a little bit in there, and there's a prayer and there's a bedtime blessing. And some of the questions there make you or help us think about God had a plan for Joseph and his family from the very beginning. And so I wonder, and maybe you wonder too, did God need Joseph's brothers to be mean in order for his plan to work? That's a really big question. Or when God makes something good come out of something bad, that's called redeeming. Now, I wonder, and maybe you wonder, if Joseph's brothers realized that God had redeemed their bad choices, that their bad choice to sell Joseph actually was part of God's good plan so that Joseph would be in the right place to bring them food and keep them from starving. And I wonder if that changed the way the brothers behaved after that. Well, these are some of the things that you can think about when you look at your journal page. And also, there's another video attached to your email, an activity with Miss Erin. And maybe you can learn how that activity works and you can invite some friends to join you. Well, until next time, this has been the Big God Project with Pastor Nancy, and I hope to see you again soon. Take care, everyone.